Well, here we are again. It's me, Jeffrey Davis, the host of Radio Entrepreneurs. I hope you're getting used to seeing my face as we are streaming more stories than ever before and reaching more people, talking about this new economy or different economy, how people are working, going back to work. And I gotta have to tell you that, more times than not, people are recruiting right now, and they need to know this person, because if you're not doing background checks, you're just you're playing Russian roulette. That's really what I think. And I'm saying that really unbiased, as someone who gets involved with recruiting with all my clients. So our next guest is our regular Phil Sharkey, president of the Higher Authority. So we're going to talk about criminal records today, correct?
We are, Jeff. Good to see you. Good to hear you in the group, and thank you for having me on. And I just want to talk today specifically about criminal record researching. When people come to me for a background check, many people think that is a background check. It's not. It's one component.
After this story, are we going to have to fire Chris and Nathan?
No, I think you're okay. I think
just Chris. Okay.
But I
no!
No, Chris, you're fine. I checked you out. Don't worry.
Thanks, Mike.
I don't know about that.
But I constantly get that, a criminal check. Now that's one component of maybe 10 components for a full background check. And as you know, I always tout that because that's where we see the 30% turn out fraudulent. I think the criminal check is the most important component. But I have many clients that just want a criminal check, nothing else. And we do that as well. Now, remember, a criminal record search, it's a public record information. So the four of us can jaunt right over there to Middlesex Superior Court or Framingham Natick District Court. We could have a field day and go right in there. Well, you can't now with the COVID, but and we can do criminal record searching. The big thing with criminal record searching is the reason why you're doing it. You have to have a reason. Even though it's public information, my reason being a private investigator is always for pre or post-employment purposes, tenancy purposes, or when there's a due diligent reason, something's occurred, say at Radio Entrepreneur, while you're on the air, the coffee maker has gone missing, and you have doubts about all the employees there, you would bring me in, and then I would do the criminal record check to see if there's a past history indicating possible theft. So you have to have a reason, even though it's public record information. We always have a signed release and authorization. That protects me, Jeff, that protects you if you might be doing the check through me, and it protects obviously the person in general. The first request I get from any client is give me a national search. I want the country, like where the FBI or the CIA, it's just not available. We have a national search, and the difference is it's a database search. All the criminal searching I want to do is through the courthouses. I want to do the superior courts, the district courts, the statewide repositories. A national search is a database search. I have access to something called COPS. It stands for Criminal Offender Profile Summary. The difference is it's not coming from the courts, it's a database. So it includes arrest records, probation records, newspaper articles. And the dirty secret that most screening companies won't share with their clients is, you're sitting down, Jeff, it's not very good. You might as well just Google somebody. Now, we have to have this search to be competitive, but the first thing I tell clients is it's not that great. And the reason why is I have to have specific information when I come back. If something's on Chris, I have to have a date of birth and social match, an address match. I can't report it to you until I have that. These national databases, it might be good it might be good in Boston, but bad in Biloxi, Mississippi. It might be good in another area in Florida and terrible in LA. And then when we get the information back, it'll consist of, partial information. Was there a disposition? That's so important. What happened? Were they guilty, innocent, etc.? But my clients want it. I have to have it, so we do it. What I do find the best for this national database is it might identify an area. Maybe I'm doing a background for you, Jeff, and something hit in Miami, Florida. Then I would suggest to you, let's do a real good search in Miami, Florida. So the best search we do is really a statewide criminal search. That's the best search you can do on an applicant. Now there's some states, even though it's public record information and they have to make it available, they're very difficult. And I'll have you guess, there's 5 states. You see if you can get any of the 5 that will not play the game. And what they hide is, Jeff, they say you need a fingerprint card. So we'll make it available, but it's our state. So they know employers, they know you. You're not going to have a fingerprint card when someone applies for a job at Radio Entrepreneurs. So would you like to guess any one of these 5 states that won't play?
Florida.
Florida does. They're strange states. It's very strange.
Not Nevada?
Nevada does not allow for a statewide check. Here's the rest. Alaska,
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, I was going to guess California.
Louisiana, Ohio, and Wyoming. Those states request a fingerprint.
Wyoming, I wouldn't have guessed.
I don't either. But the Wild West, I don't know what the rule is there for sure, but they won't.
Alaska, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't know. So then we have to step back and do the next style check. Now, there's many states that make it available, but they also make it very hard.
But Alaska does paw prints for polar bears.
They do, and we have to be politically correct. I know you can say, the Eskimo pies is not allowed anymore. So you can't hurt anybody's feelings today. So you have to go correct. But
Eskimo pies, they can't call them that anymore.
No, you cannot. No.
Have they changed the name of Eskimo pies already?
They are working on that. Yeah, the brand name is not going to be Eskimo pies any longer. Certain states around us are very difficult. New Hampshire, they require a signed notarized release. Many states require a notarized release. They know that's going to be difficult. New Hampshire, live free and die. You're not checking us out. So they know for you to get it has to be notarized, has to be mailed to me. I mail it to the state police. Process slows down.
Or deliver it in your pickup truck.
Yeah, exactly. I drive right up there, blare the horn, and drop off the criminal search. Right. Massachusetts, everybody knows it's CORI. Stands for Criminal Offender Record Index. CORI. Everybody thinks CORI is great.
Well,
got flaws.
You're bringing up another subject that I've been thinking about, and our time is always short, and that is this becoming sort of a human rights issue during this liberal time, where people are saying, it's if I have a criminal record and I've paid my dues, why does this have to be public information? Is that the argument on the other side?
I'll give you a perfect example with the CORI check from Massachusetts, and I don't want to hurt any side of the argument. It was at one time I would do a search, say on Chris Gerald, and I would get back all arrests, all convictions, of course, but all arrests. That's really important to me. Under Deval Patrick's regime as a governor, and I understand this, we want to give people multiple chances. They changed the CORI for employment to convictions and open cases only. Really important statement. Convictions and open cases only. So, for example,
what do they mean by open case?
It hasn't been finalized yet, so there could be
there's no decision.
And many times they go on for years. But in that, changing the CORI to that rule, you could have someone with 5 or 6 assault and batteries all dismissed, and that person would come back clear. CORI, no record. And many assault and batteries are dismissed because even with the police helps today, you really need that victim to show up, and they're scared to death and don't want to show up. So it's tough to get the conviction in those cases. I had a case last year where the CORI came back clear, but the district court showed 5 assault and batteries.
Well, nowadays, with these different movements like the Black Lives Matter, a lot of people are saying these convictions were false, and people were plea bargaining to get off and get away from the police and get away from conviction. So they felt it was the safe course, but there's this cloud over their head. Now I understand both sides of this argument. It's really problematic,
It is. And I think what I always say to people is the background check is information, which is so valuable. We can bat it around how you decide it, how Nathan decides it, how I decide it regarding how to move forward. But I want to know, and I'm not infringing on anyone's right, but if you have 4 assault and batteries, I think I want to know before I turn the keys over to the office to you.
What about the 60 years of marijuana arrests, which are not an issue now with many states, but are still issues with some other states? That goes on your criminal record as well, correct?
Yeah, and it's true. And it's just like with the COVID crisis, we're the United States, but are we really united? Florida has a different view than Massachusetts.
Thank God.
New York has a different view than Texas. So the same thing with marijuana convictions, which were once like, oh my goodness, what a troublemaker, to now it's a legal event. But just like drinking and driving. In some states, yes, or in federally, but in some states, again, there's our divide, right?
Some states, you're still going to get arrested.
Yeah, and you can't pull it together, right? We can't be consistent. That's my first argument with new clients. Like, just do a national search. I'm like, you can't believe these are things going in all different directions.
Well, in Alaska, you can't have your finger printed, but you can have marijuana.
No, and I have to go to Anchorage Superior Court because they won't let me do a statewide.
California, you can't have the fingerprint, but you can have marijuana.
That's right. That's what they know. They know they're going to make it difficult. Just to wrap with the county criminal search is what we do the most. Statewide can be problematic, as I mentioned. county criminals. I can do a county search on anyone, anytime across the country, coast to coast, 2 to 3 business days.
I was just going to say, and how long? 2 to 3 business days, which doesn't affect the recruiting process.
Not at all. And that's the big thing with me. It has to be great information, but it so has to be timely. I'm constantly 2 to 3 days at the most, and we're done. If it's not that fast, it's no good.
Here's my rule, and I do this with all my clients. No one gets hired without a background check.
It's not difficult. It's sort of like the argument you have today. You can't come in my store without a mask on.
Well, that's your store. I just saw a Palm Beach County video, if you haven't seen that one, where people were arguing that, about, someone was arguing in front of the Palm Beach County. I don't wear underwear. I'm not wearing a mask.
I'm not wearing a mask, but it's no shirt, no shoes, no dice, no mask for us. But I hear you.
You get all kinds.
You do indeed. Now, Jeff, I always like to wrap with, of course, your story of the day. I know my time's running short, but I like to give you one superstar liar each segment.
Yes, sir.
I usually deal with the national in a huge case across the country that shocks you. This time I'm going to be a little selfish and do one that we did a background check on. This is a true story. This person applied for a job with in last year with a company in Massachusetts that was going to drive seniors. We do a lot of work for this company, and we did a background search. And a big thing with criminal checks, it's usually not where they are, it's where they've been. So this was Massachusetts, but we did a lot of research, and in Rhode Island, we found this story. Was the West Greenwich, Rhode Island police officer pulled over a school bus driver in town. This was in December 2016. She had bloodshot eyes, and she was driving the school bus. Shelley, we'll just go with the first name. She was arrested and charged with driving under the influence after officers pulled her over on Route 3. She had a blood alcohol content that was 3 times the legal limit. He said the bus was straddling 2 lanes, traveling at 15 miles per hour with their flashers on when the police pulled her over. The school bus again. Luckily, at the time, there was no students on the bus. However, the police chief said that prior, they were told that the Westerly boys track team was on the bus. Doing further research, we received from the Westerly situation that the superintendent told us that the coach of the track team had the bus driver pull to a stop and had the students get off and wait for another bus. He said he was uncomfortable. He felt there was some weaving in and out of traffic, and the school bus that typically drives in a straight line was not going at a consistent straight line or steady speed. Later, when they found her, she was at a convenience store. Now, again, the track team had to leave the bus, get off on the side of the street, wait for another bus. When they found her at a convenience store, the store clerk called the police and said she appeared to be intoxicated. And when they went into the bus, they found a whole bunch of small bottles of alcohol by the driver's seat, most of them of which were empty. We identified her. She would have probably gotten the job for our client if it's just that person walking in. Massachusetts, the query would have been clear, but this all happened in Rhode Island, and a good due diligent background check surfaced that. I don't want to pick on her. Obviously, there's an alcohol problem there, but it could have been a.
Got to do background checks. Everybody, we've been speaking with Sheriff Phil Sharkey, the higher authority. Phil, if someone's looking for you, how would they find you?
The best way is we're right there on the World Wide Web at www.hireauth.com. That's HIREAUTH.com. The office is 508-230-5901. Phone calls are monitored from 7 to 5 and also monitored after. You can also email me at psharkey@hireauth.com. That's PSHARKEY@hireauth.com.
Sheriff Sharkey, good job. Remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.